Hi everyone, welcome to the Blue Summit seminar. My name's Tony. I help work with a team at Houzz Australia, and today we're going to be talking about adapting to the new normal. And given the last few years, there's definitely a new normal that we need to do. In fact, it's the first time I've worn a button-up shirt for a while. My hair is brushed, if not it hasn't been cut for a few months. And I think over the last couple of years in particular, we've all had to adapt a lot to what's going on in our personal lives and professional lives as well. So what we're going to do today is really dive into why it's so important, and now more than ever, your online presence matters, and it matters so much. So following on from that, we're going to talk about some tips to really establish your online presence. What are some absolute must-dos, and also some opportunities where you can go and grow and take things even further. And then lastly, we're going to touch off really about what you guys need to do to invest for growth going forward. What are some of those little seeds you can plant that will hopefully grow and get you guys the strong type of work that you want to have in your business moving into the future? Now, my aim is that you really finish today with a strong sense of what you need to do in terms of taking some tangible next steps, get an understanding of what you might be doing well, and also realize how we as Houzz can help you out along that way and be part of that journey going forward. So, your online presence matters now more than ever. And I think the last 2 years have been such a unique time in our world. I reflect back, and also I'll give an excuse if my kids or dog or potentially wife scream out during this presentation. That is just par for the course. And everything has had to shift, and our expectations have had to evolve. But as a result, online is more critical than it's ever been. So let's take a step back and think about some of those macro trends that we've witnessed. And I think as a starting point, a real simple truth that I'm sure you all can understand and appreciate is that our industry, or design in general, is always a function of the environment. There's this constant feedback cycle with what's going on in the world and how design responds to meet that and make it a reality, and really help create solutions to those environmental and societal trends. And if we think about disease overall, design responding to disease is not something new. We've seen it throughout history, and the example of the Romans and sanitation and aqueducts and the massive evolution in design and how they used technology to overcome challenges. 19th century, we had these big, deep, dark, heavy environments with tuberculosis that ripped through. Suddenly advice came to have much more light, open air, big windows, colored spaces that are clean and smooth and easier to live in. And Le Corbusier and contemporaries came in with their design that revolutionized the response to what we had, to what was going on. So with COVID, it's been no surprise to see how people have responded. And I think firstly, if we reflect back to where we were March last year, we're on the precipice of this great unknown. For the most part, particularly in Australia, we can feel quite grateful for where things are at. Now, obviously in lockdown, things are frustrating, but given the fear of what could have been, and we haven't seen the enormous loss of life that we've witnessed around the world, and also our industry, where we were so worried and fearful about what might happen, we've actually come through this pandemic period relatively unscathed. In fact, when we've done research at Houzz throughout the last 18 months, what we've seen is that renovation and spend on homes has not decreased. In fact, some projects were delayed, but overall there's been a surge in activity. Part of this is due to the fact that people are at home a lot more. There's no expendable income being spent on overseas holidays. And also there's been a slight shift in what matters and the priorities, what people place in their lives. Instead of these big extravagant external experiences, it's been time to have a little bit of quiet and connection, putting the wagons circling around, arms around the family, and really investing in the spaces and practicalities of what matters most. My family, the people close to me, and how do I make my environment as warm and sustainable and functional as possible? We've definitely seen a massive acceleration of trends that were on path anyway, but also new ones that have come through. Increase for desire of green and sustainable materials, having that greater connection to outdoors, a lot of integration in terms of how we can make our spaces more functional, because the reality is our homes are working harder than ever before. My lounge room is my office, my kids' schoolroom, my exercise space, my ability for my wife to do her work, as well as a family integration time. So having more functionality and how we use more has all been a big surge in creativity, and been wonderful to see the solutions coming forward in terms of macro trends. Now, I'll give a big plug for our editorial team, and they've got a really interesting webinar about these trends also that you guys should definitely go and visit at the Blue Summit homepage, because it will give you a really good feel for terms of what's been transpiring and going forward. But for the most part, we've come through it fairly well. What we have seen is a massive acceleration of consumer adoption of digital technologies. Everyone in the family, from my mother through to my youngest children to family and friends, everyone is much more integrated and connected to mobile functionality, digital learning, and having technology at the center of their lives. Now, these trends were happening anyway, but because of the impact of the last 18 months, those trends have been accelerated rapidly. So this study from McKinsey shows a significant increase in how the adoption of digital technology is shifting our behaviors. Remote working, a massive demand for online services, as well as the increase of advanced technology and how that's utilized in day-to-day life, has seen a huge surge in uptake. So given that is happening across the world, we obviously need to adapt to it in our industry as well. Now, primarily, renovation, design, and construction has tended not to be at the cutting edge of technology adoption. But the reality today is homeowners are online, and they're online looking for professionals just like you. So if you are not in the space where they are connected, you're going to be missing out. Our studies in our House and Home survey every year show the integration and connection that people have to their digital devices. Homeowners are searching online more than they ever have before. And when they're searching online, they're not only looking to find people online, they're also demanding an online solution and experience from their service providers. And the big opportunity for you guys is that they are willing to spend more to get that solution. Because if they can get a beautiful digital experience as an empowered client for when they order their coffee, for when they get their groceries delivered, for when they book anything and any services delivered, our industry is no different. So this empowered client who is mobile first, has 24/7 contact, has more information than they've ever had before, is here to stay. And one of the big insights we've seen in the evolution of what your clients want is that they want this process to be much more participatory than they ever have before. They expect to be able to engage and understand and be part of the process. They don't want to be passive recipients of a service. They want to have communication flow and are demanding a level of experience and service that we haven't delivered previously. So it's really critical with this knowledge of the empowered client to how do you go about building an effective online presence. If you think about your online presence, it's all about how you present your brand going forward. And branding has got to be a longer term investment. If you get it right, it will bring recognition, build your reputation, and ultimately help you get the type of jobs that you really want to do. So many people survive on word of mouth referrals, and referrals are wonderful in terms of getting your foot through the door. But what consumer behavior in 2021 and going forward dictates is that if I receive a referral from a friend, the first thing I do is go and validate that online. Now, I will do that if someone recommends a movie, a restaurant, a band. I can get OCD searching for hotels to stay at. So I'm definitely going to make the time with my biggest asset and biggest investment I'm going to make. I take the time to validate that research and make sure the online presence of any organization or product I engage with helps meet the expectations of the referral that's been given. So having that referral validated online is so critical. The second thing having a strong online presence in today's day and age is important for is to make sure you present your brand in the way that you want to be seen. Because your brand is your digital storefront. It helps represents you as who you are and showcases the services and work that you want to do. It helps present an opportunity so a consumer looking for a specific type of engagement, aesthetic, style, or service level can see you and get clear and consistent communication right from the start and have that replicated all the way through. And if you have that online, clear, concise message, it enables you to help people find the information that they need and also make sure that they can get the type of client that they want to connect with. And that is a critical element, giving that clear picture of who you are to make sure you get the type of clients that you want. The first step in that is obviously your website. And if you don't have a website, you're just so far out of the game in this day and age that you're doing yourself a disservice. It's a fundamental inhibitor to not have a website. And just having a website is also not good enough. It has to be one that's decent. You have seconds to make an impact. And if you don't nail it at the start, you're going to miss out on that opportunity. So a couple of tips and tricks to reflect on your current presence and your current website is it responsive? Does it work on desktop, tablet, and phone so people can find and connect with you and engage with you on the go? Does it link and replicate the trust marks and presence that people can dive deeper by linking to other platforms for external validation, such as Houzz? Is it on brand? Does it represent your business in the way you want to be seen? Does it have a beautiful aesthetic? Is it a functional design? And very, very critical, is there regular content that's updated, that gives new news, that doesn't date yourself and remain static for 5-6 years over time? What we've seen in our community is that people will sometimes spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a website, but keep it stuck at one point in time. And it doesn't stick with the times, and it doesn't help validate the perception that they want to create. So that was one of the key drivers in terms of us as part of our end-to-end business management tool is to add website services as a standard for any package from Essential Up. And what this gives is a really cost-effective and hands-off approach that will give a full creation and management of a website for your business. Hosting, domain, SEO friendly and secure. And one of the things it brings is our expertise in understanding what it takes to succeed in this industry. We've built the biggest platform for home building and design globally. So we've taken that insider knowledge and worked out what needs to be applied for your individual business. We provide unlimited content, storage, and also integrate it with a bunch of tools that help you create a great experience visually, but then deliver a great experience throughout the project. All of that is optimized for mobile devices. So I would strongly suggest if your website is not as good as it should be, or you're pissing away a lot of money, spending thousands of dollars with a service that's a little bit clunky, tough to upload, or you're not looking as fresh as you would like to be, please reach out, let us do the heavy lifting and help bring you into the era where your online presence represents you in the best way possible. It's also critical that you update things regularly because people are looking for a sense of relevance to what's going on right now. We mentioned some of the trends, some of the insights, and it might be sustainable materials, it might be multifunctional living, it might be integration of internet-based technology, or the specialization that you offer. It's really important that you present your brand as being active and engaged. So one thing that we would strongly suggest as part of your online hygiene is making sure all your profiles are updated regularly. This can be a hassle, but we do have the capacity to help you with that. And our suggestion is on Houzz, making sure you're adding details like the project years, descriptions about your profile. Use details and tags to help identify what it is that you do and how you can set yourself aside. And that shouldn't just be Houzz, it should be across any platform that you choose to represent your brand and how you want to take it forward to market. A big part of that is making sure you've got good pictures. And like it or not, the outcome of what we all produce in this industry is a physical aesthetic product. You're building something, you're designing something, you're creating something that is tangible, and its essence is in how it looks. It's how it works, but how you capture that visually is so important. So you need to think about how you're going to represent your brand properly. And if you're not hiring a professional photographer, you're doing yourself a disservice. The level of investment, which can be incredibly cost effective these days, is really critical to make sure you get the return on the project and help you get more work. Because if everyone else in your game is taking beautiful shots and showing their work as great, and your work doesn't quite stack up, you're going to be missing out on the type of jobs that you really want to do. Part of that is standard process and expectation management. So when you work on a project, let your clients know right at the start that you want to organize a photo shoot at its completion. People love the idea of transformation. So before photos and after photos, showing your capability and the magic you bring to a project is so critical. And when you invest in photos, update your profile. Showcase yourself with the latest and best pictures, put your best foot forward and show yourself visually to create and track the people that you want to create. Other than photos, the most critical element you can work on in your online presence is reviews. Now, whilst we want to talk about our brand as much as possible, that's not what your brand is. It's what everything that is said about your company sums up. So it's not only what you say about you, it's what other people say about you. And a key part of that is reviews. Now, before I was saying I can go down a wormhole looking at reviews for hotels, food, music, restaurants, food, pets, anything where there's a subjective opinion. I really want to make sure that I get a firm understanding of it. And if I can spend an immense amount of time looking at reviews for the decisions that don't matter so much, for the most expensive and important asset that I will ever own, for the place that is going to create the environment where I live and breathe and sleep with my family, you can bet you that I'm going to spend a lot of time assessing and understanding the caliber of professionals that I want to work with. We validate this with our house and home research every single year, where people say that it's the number one important aspect of how they make a decision. And they spend a lot of time doing it. So it's critical that you set the expectation with your clients and proactively request reviews. They're not going to magically appear unless you put the work in to set the expectation at the start. Assume you're going to give a great service, be open to feedback and engage with clients to include that as part of your standard business process. If you don't get a review that's perfect, that is okay. No one expects 100% of the time, but how you engage and respond to that review is how consumers and potential clients will see you. So be authentic, be trustworthy, stick to the facts, be respectful, and make sure you showcase yourself as the way you deserve to be seen. Reviews matter, invest the time to do them properly. And if you're not doing it, it's a huge potential upside and a massive return on investment that you can get for your time by doing it properly. Once you've got that foundation, you've then got to think about how can I go forward and build my brand going forward. Now, like I was saying before, building a strong online brand is not something that happens overnight. It's a medium to long-term investment with the objective of setting your business up for success over time. So many professionals we have see these activities as discretionary. It's something I'd like to do. And that's not just in home design, that's across all sectors. But what they will do, the people who do the best will routinely invest a portion of their revenue specifically into marketing and brand building activities. And it's those businesses that have the foresight and the strategy to set them up for success that will succeed in the longer term. So much of it here is being targeted and specific about where you want to be seen and how can you be seen in the right places. What we know on Houzz is that homeowners plan for 6 to 12 months when they plan in a project. Now, in the context of my toilet being blocked, things are flooding, house may be stinky, My need is someone who can do it immediately, who is fastest and who is cheapest. So having some short, sharp leads definitely makes sense in that environment. But if I'm investing for a longer term vision for my home and I'm spending months and months and hours of research, planning, engaging, finding the right person for me, the decision-making process is very different. So what we want to do is make sure that you are seen in the right time, in the right place to build up your brand consistently over time. It's really important for you as your business to understand what is the type of project you want to attract, how much you need to invest to make that happen, and understand what profit you need to generate with what investment you're going to make, so you can understand what levels you need to do to grow your business effectively. One thing that's critical and driven by our success of Houzz is we know that people are on the platform looking to hire a professional. And the underlying bread and butter of our local advertising service has always been about, we know we've got millions of people looking for professionals in the areas that you work. So if we put your work that's quality in front of them consistently, they tend to reach out. So our local advertising product through Houzz Pro showcases your finished work and helps people engage with your brand throughout that research process. You pick the areas and locations you want to target, and then we show you in the photo directory, in the Find Pro directory, to really highlight and showcase your business in the best way possible. What we then do is supplement that with leads that come through directly, specifically for projects to start now. Now, feedback the industry had given us over time is often leads through other platforms could be tire kickers, not so effective, and waste time by not being as relevant for your business as you would like. What we've done is taken conscious steps to mitigate that and put in human engagement at the center of that experience. So we provide a live connection concierge service where we will have real-time qualification with one of our representatives, asking and understanding who the homeowner is, what they're working on, and then making sure that that's validated and checked and vetted with you before we connect. So it's never going to be perfect, but that human interaction goes a long way to removing some of the challenges and obstacles that people have had from standard lead generation opportunities. So you get those long, slow burn leads, as well as really quality and validated leads that are more immediate to create a really strong opportunity to grow your business. Now, it's not just about getting the leads through the door. In this day and age, what's so important is to make sure your tools are able to deliver the service that consumers are now expecting. What we were saying at the start is that people demand more of their service professionals. It's no longer good enough to, flick them a shabby looking email and hope that they get back to you in time. Consumers expect immediate follow-up. They expect you to look professional, and they expect an easy, smooth process that allows for transparent engagement. So much of that is also about the digital technology, that if I am getting an amazing experience at every other touch point of my life, I want it to be the same with my home design and renovation professional. And if you think about it yourself, the difference between someone responding promptly to a query within a couple of hours with a professional, friendly, warm engagement versus someone that sort of loses it, gets back in a little bit of time, maybe a few days later, maybe a week later, making sure you're set up to effectively engage with them will deliver a better experience, help you win more work, help you have happier clients, and lead to more referral business over time. There's a bunch of tools and technologies out there to help you do that. Video conferencing, CRM, online engagement and software, different project management tools. What we've been able to do is take the best of all of those and integrate it into an end-to-end solution. We've built something specifically for your industry that is easy to use. We've taken all community feedback on board and built something and evolved to have something that sets your business up to go digital. So from the first time someone sees you, be it through your website or through the leads that we generate, we then give you tools to respond to those leads effectively, stay on top of them. give you beautiful professional estimates and proposals that can be accepted, approved, and paid for with a click of some buttons, digital signatures, project management, making sure you get paid, and ultimately an end-to-end system that's mobile, easy to use, and helps you guys save time and money. And so that's how we've responded to the reality of the world. And whether it's with us, which would strongly like you do, or with a connection of other platforms, whatever, you need to be moving with the times and meeting your customers where they are at. So if customer expectations have evolved, you need to evolve and have your systems meeting them and making your life easier, because that's what these tools are set up to do. So reflecting back, I haven't had a haircut for a couple of months and it's held up pretty well over 20 minutes before it goes at the end. So because of the crazy world that we live in, it's really critical to know that online presence matters. COVID has changed our realities, and the adoption of digital technology has accelerated massively. And it hasn't just accelerated in terms of how we can help our business, it's accelerated in the expectations of homeowners and how they want to engage with people like you. Because of that, it's critical that you up the ante in your online presence. You need consistent messaging. You have to have a brand that is represented well with an online website, strong profile fundamentals across a range of platforms, and making sure your photos and reviews are fresh, regular, and are at the quality level that people demand. If you don't do that, you're out of the game, and your competitors are, and they will grow and develop and set yourself up when you are going to be left behind. So it's really critical in this little bit of a breath where things are a little bit quieter that you jump on the opportunity to improve. When doing that, it's a critical time to consider, how are you going to invest for growth going forward? How do you make sure your brand is built and seen in the right locations, targeting the right type of clients with the bigger, more expansive, more lucrative projects that you want? Who are those clients? Where are they? And how do you get in front of them consistently? And lastly, how do you utilize technology to make sure that your brand and experience doesn't stop when someone walks through the door? How do you deliver a premium, smooth experience from the first time someone sees you through to how you manage the project, how you communicate, and overall how you deliver a wonderful engagement to the clients that matter so much? Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Please make sure you check out the other Blue Summit content. There's a lot of great activities and a lot of great articles and videos up there, and definitely reach out, because we are here to help. So if you want to chat to someone to understand, what your goals are and how we can help them, my team is sitting ready to go and would love to connect over time. Have a great day and appreciate it. Thank you very much.